Okay, started. Morning, Mojo. How you doing? Right. So, back on the game dev roll today. Um, this is actually going to be a bit of a palate cleanser from the last couple of streams, obviously, with the struggles I've been having. I'm good. I'm good. I unfortunately didn't have any moments of inspiration overnight on the whole Akka thing. Um, it's frustrating to me when this sort of stuff comes along because I know what I want to achieve. I know I can achieve it in a variety of ways, but the solution I think I want to head towards is just that little bit beyond me. So I got to kind of figure that out bit by bit. Um, I don't know whether it's my approach to the Akka components that's creating the problem. I didn't get to finish up what I was going to start last night on stream. I fell asleep. Um, but this is the challenge of designing software rather than just writing code. Um, it's not just gonna be simple. Um, so yeah, so bit of a palate cleanse with working on this morning. Um, just to be something random that I can make some progress on. Hopefully, I say. Um, hey TT, how you doing? Good, you complete my what is this? I don't fully understand the problem trying to be solved in practice, but I'm still waking up. Well, before I get too deep into this, let me try and diagram because where are you? Because while we're talking about it, while I'm still not into the game dev thing yet, it's a good time to do this sort of stuff. I have no measure as to so the game dev stuff is a palate cleanser for me, right? So it's a nice to do. I'd like to learn a little bit more and get a bit more into um, game dev, but it's not a necessity. This comes over everything else in terms of my priorities. So, um, uh, so I've been doing Godot game dev on stream for the last couple of weeks on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's kind of just the step away so that I don't get burned out doing one project all the time. And what I found is people tend to, if considering I'm streaming 5 days a week, people tend to not attach to the entire 5 days, and it's good to have um, a mix and match of things. But anyway, so the problem I'm trying to solve is with the Akka thing. In a distributed system, events can come from anywhere at any time, right? Um, maybe the way I've designed this is actually creating an issue for me, but overall it doesn't feel like it so far. So the idea is that as things change on the client, right? So let's say a user one adds a ticket, right? That's going to come in here and hit the ticketing API, which is going to register a new ticket. It's going to publish that ticket. It's going to publish whatever else it needs. It's going to publish the ticket as an integration event. That integration event right now is going to get consumed and stored in the view so the view can display that ticket. Similarly, if someone at the same time comes along and creates a planning item, that will go into the planning API, it will create a planning item, and it will publish out the planning item. I need a better way of representing these because these are the entities that this individual API can actually publish, right? So events can come out of the system in reaction to a change. So an integration event will fire. The view will consume that. Now we move to the messaging flow overall. So that's that client is posting via HTTP to the APIs. Each API can publish an integration event. And I don't quite know how to describe this, but it's kind of API. So we go start the API, and we right. So the integration event is essentially the publicly shared information for any given model. So let's do that. Let's go up here. I.e. Planning item integration event, right? So it's the information that I'm willing to share outside of the system, outside of the API itself. So that integration event is this, right? That's what being represented. So right now, the view is consuming that integration event, right? So the view is one of those things consuming the integration event, stores it in its database. I now need to calculate what changed. So I'm going to take that same integration event and split it out here. And this is going to be changes. Changes needs to be able to process in as quickly as possible, really, let's say. So I have a couple of options with what I've got right now, right? So I can use Kafka. So if I use Kafka, the problem is Kafka works on a no, wrong one. 5, no. Use the right thing. So Kafka has a topic. So a topic might be yeah, the view is the end user's version, right? So it's consuming that event and that integration event, and the integration event looks like I closed it down. The integration event looks like this, right? That's a planning item integration event. So that's really all the information that that API has about that thing. So things like there's no associated projects. It uses the public IDs of everything. So this is the public identifier of the requirement. The reason being I could change this to publish requirements separately and then just publish the list of requirements out of this API. It's up to the consuming system to kind of pull information back together. So everything has a public identifier so that there's no database IDs shared around the system, right? The identifiers that are deliberately intended to be shared. So this is an integration event, right? Kafka has the concept of topics. So a topic might be, um, in this case, liquid sky dot planning items, right? So I publish to that topic, not planning items one. So, and what you can do with Kafka is you can have to get scale out with Kafka. What you can do is you can provide partitions of the data, right? So the more partitions you provide, the more consumers you can put against it. So if you have one partition, morning, Kath. Hello, Connie. How you doing? No, this is a leftover from the last couple of streams over the weekend. I'm just trying to get through this, and obviously, Mojo's kind of attended a lot of that, and I'm just trying to kind of explain before I get into any game dev, because this is sadly lurking in my mind, so it's going to bug me. So Kafka can you spread the load with Kafka by partitioning your data, right? So the problem is that Kafka, you you can process a message, but you can only process one message per consumer per topic per partition at a time, and it won't give you another message until you acknowledge that message. So if you want quick throughput, you have to be able to take those messages and work with them. That has crossed my mind, especially if I'm kind of thinking about doing something like a sim game, right? A city simulator, publishing events and stuff around the system and consuming them would be kind of interesting. So, so the problem with the changes is if I have one partition and one top for each topic, I can only process as much as I can. Yeah, it's a FIFO, right? So within a partition, Kafka guarantees ordering. So you are guaranteed to get them in the order they came out, right? The order they were produced in within a partition. You're not guaranteed ordering if you have multiple partitions, but multiple partitions is how you get throughput. So the problem is if I wanted to scale up my changes and get more throughput on changes using just Kafka, to get more throughput, I have to run more services. So I'm not really getting the benefit of using the machine properly that the service is installed on, or if I install it on a an actual instance, right? I'm not getting the benefit of using that because it's going to uh, not consume the threads. It's just going to process what it can process. So if I want to scale out Kafka, I have to start multiple consumers. So a consumer is really, if you're doing consumers the way I understand them, um, let's do partition. Right. So a consumer is essentially one-to-one with a partition, right? Because the topic can have many partitions. You have to decide this though before you do it, right? So you can't change the number of partitions once you've gone live with a Kafka topic. You have to recreate the topic if you want to change the number of partitions. So you kind of need to know what this strategy looks like. So the reason I'm avoiding using Kafka for this problem is, right, if I use Kafka to scale to run a lot of changes through the system, I have to start another version of the service. Or I have to start another consumer, right? I can start multiple consumers for the same topic inside of the same process. It gets a little bit more difficult. And I don't have that structure yet, right? So I'd have to build that ability in my library stuff. So what my thought was, if I use Akka can run a single process. It can run many things in parallel. I'm not asking these to do great deals of um, um, I'm not asking this to do a lot of processing necessarily. I mean, it's calculating changes, sure, but it's got A and B, right? It's a diff against two objects and saying, okay, these things changed. That's okay. Um, so I'm not sure um, how to definitely approach that. So with Akka, I can have one process running, consume many different things at once. Because again, it starts to thread a little better. I can try and represent that process a little bit more cleanly. Because if you think about it, the consumers here, these consumer services are literally going to say, take the event and now go do everything else that I'm going to do with it, right? So it's going to, does it exist? Yes. Okay, let's calculate changes. Yes. That's all going to be in one component as opposed to having this broken up actor model that I could potentially make some decisions and split those things in different directions. So that's why I went with the actor stuff with Akka, because I think it could speed that process up, and then I can choose scaling later on. I don't have to scale proportionate to a predefined strategy on my Kafka thing. Because again, I will ultimately end up with many partitions um, against these topics anyway, right? Because the reality is I want to be able to consume quickly. If I get a lot more data, I don't want to say, oh, well, I can't support this. I'm going to end up with 5 or 10 or 20 partitions against a Kafka topic. What happens is um, if you have more partitions than you have consumers, the consumer it will round robin anyway. It will go through the other partitions, right? It's just you can feed them quicker if you have more. So that's kind of why I'm looking at Kafka versus Akka. I don't know of any other patterns that really fit what I might want to do there. So that is the challenge so far. So hopefully that explains that a little bit. Should read that for right a second. Alpaca. I have not seen alpaca. I assume that's not what you're thinking of. Alpaca. Streamaware. That's for the regular Akka. Okay. High performance streaming applications quickly on less code. AMQP, AWS. Don't quite get. Looks like that's still. Looks like that's been left alone, doesn't it? What the heck? That's like Gitter. Uh, source code. 4 months ago. Last month. Okay, so it is being actively contributed to. Uh, they don't have Kafka. Interesting. I'll have to give that a deeper look. Yeah, they don't do Kafka. So I mean, that is the challenge, right? I've got to overcome. And that's I mean, like I said before, this is the difference between just coding and thinking about the design. Um, it can make a big difference how I process this. And again, because of the way the system is built, I can I can come back and change this later if I want to. I can change out any component I want to, right? If I want to create a different view, the benefit of doing this way is if I want to create a different view of the data, if I want to create a reporting view of the data, if I want to create a new type of view, right? I want to use a different technology. I want to use APIs rather than, or I want to provide an API, right? I can use the same events that are being published now and just build out an API around a different database. So I can structure that database differently. I can control that database differently. So there's some great advantages to doing the design this way. And again, I can extend the system without changing any single component, right? I don't have to worry about changes changing Vue. Now, if I want to publish this information back into Vue, I can do that. There's no harm in that, but it would be a different input source, right, to the Vue system. So there's a definite advantage to doing it this way. Yeah. Okay. So game dev stuff, just to continue that complete twist. Oh man, tired. More tired than I realized. Um, game dev. So, where or how did you create game assets? So I'm using Kenny um, Kenny NL. Massive collection of free assets that have been created for 2 and 3D stuff for the game assets. I'm not talented enough to create my own. I do have a sprite or whatever it's called, but I am an absolute potato at art. So um, yeah, so shmup. That's what I'm using, which is nice. Okay, so potato art can be cool. Yeah, it can get a kind of rustic look, I suppose. um, enemy manager, enemy, aircraft is enemy. So this should work, right? On collision occurred, notify collision. Nice Twitch. Held a message for reasons smart detection beta. Cheap viewers on. You know. Okay, Twitch get a brownie point for the day. They now detect the cheap viewers. Bots are active today a lot. Joy. Oh. Ah. B's got follow botted. Well, that ain't good. Okay, so last time we were doing this, I got the flight patterns in, right? So I removed all the tanks and stuff, but I got it so that it triggers the aircraft. Okay, so it does know the collision difference. Okay, so uh, hopefully I continue to fly under the radar. Oh, they are working. Okay. I didn't think that was working last time we did this. So there's two things I need to do. The first is if they're not on screen, I shouldn't end them. Second, that enemy that ending timer is way too quick. Oh, way too slow, sorry. No, way too quick was not the problem I was suffering there. Okay, so we need them to come down the screen first before I actually shoot. Yeah, there you go. Maybe a little longer. The more I work this way, the more I can see that you could end up with quite the hacks in place if you try and maybe sure. Yeah, I can be hit by them. Oh, okay. Okay, so why did that error? Um, area, enter trampoline. So there's a few things that the aircraft doesn't do that the others does. Um, this is important. For the most part, they're the same. Um, let's do this. Let's create enemy base. Add enemy is area 2D and enemy. Area 2D enemy. Implement the array, the interface, sorry. Implement the array. Um, let's do this. Let's remove um, tracking enemy. No, it's because I put radar on enemy. That's the problem. That's the design issue there. That's too specific. I want to know the difference. So the aircraft don't track. So when the aircraft, the radar is useless. Um, let's see. Let's find usage. 3 implementations. Enemy. But I don't. When are you going to change your project name from Can I to I Can? When I'm convinced that I actually can. I uh I have less confidence in this overall than anything I do. Um, even after several weeks of doing this, um, it just feels like I'm just kind of fumbling through. Worse than normal code. So Want to hear that confidence sentence? Confidence? Welcome back. Sorry for the ads. Um, yeah, when I actually feel that I do have a clue, I feel less confident in this. I feel like I'm just bumbling from solution to solution in this rather than being able to kind of at least plan ahead and understand what I'm trying to achieve. I feel like I'm solving. This is more the kind of software development I don't like doing because it feels messier, right? I've again, I'm going back over my design decisions and I'm putting um what you're looking for is learning. Yeah, I mean that is the point of the streams, right? That is to share this experience, but is I think it's more frustrating because of I understand the language, I just don't understand how I'm going to solve certain problems, and I don't want to spend great deals of time overthinking it because that's what got me in trouble in the first place with Gamedev, right? I stop because I get bored because I don't make progress. I don't make progress because I think there's some refined solution to everything and that I've got to find it. It's the same thing with the Akka thing, right? I'm trying to find a solution that works um, in a technology that I have little experience of um, with a system that's poorly documented as well. But yeah, let's move. So radar is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna break my own API. Let's move that out, right? Because what I want to do is I want to say, there we go. There's the enemy manager, right? That's why I did that. I'll type enemy if enemy is tracking. Um, let's just try enemy base has radar. Um, right. If enemy is player tracking enemy tracking, so we'll assign the radar to it. Right. Now, most of this functionality lands in there. I'll rename this tank afterwards, by the way. So that goes in there. This goes in here. Worry about that afterwards. Okay. So this becomes enemy base. Let's do that so we don't lose all these. Right, they become private, so then they need to now be uh, protected. I will evaluate whether they need to be private or protected afterwards. So uh, I might not need to do on game over. Okay, so on visibility changed. what we're going to do is we're going to take these. I'm going to implement them as protected virtual methods so that we can actually override them if we need to. Protected virtual. I realize I haven't made this abstract yet. That's protected virtual. That might be the first time I've done that sort of stuff. Jet Town is dead. Protected. All is dead. Okay. Now this is a player. I could actually put this behavior in player tracking enemy. Because this stuff what's the point in canon? I probably need to do that. Then implement that method. And then that needs to be cannon.fire at current target. Aircraft will come back over in a second because that's just fire at vector 2 down, right? So that means we implement the fire method. Don't the problem the thing I'm like concerning myself with is am I overcomplicating things? I don't think I am. I think this is reasonable because the aircraft and enemy share a lot of code. I don't want to keep changing both because I'm going to fall out of step eventually. So if I don't do this now, I'm going to get in trouble later. The visibility screen change stuff is going to potentially create a problem because I'm going but that's why I made this virtual as well, so I can mess around with that. I can override the behavior here because the you like Godot. The aircraft has an enabled flag, so I might create a triggered enemy virtual class, base class. So that's actually a player tracking enemy. That goes away. That goes away. That goes away. That's the specifics of that. So when you have time, you make a into ECS. It's easier for games with more flexible entity component system. It features composition over inheritance. Okay. I know ECS in the context of Unity, but is it just a general design pattern? Gotcha. We don't need that either. So that's on game over is in there, but I don't think I actually need on game over right now. GD.print game over, what's called. Look, even when basic Unity doesn't do ECS. There you go. Rocking that low viewership today. Well, I started with the conversation on Akka and stuff, but slow even for me. Um, okay, so there. So this should still compile. Public abstract partial. There we go. Enemy base. So aircraft at this point can pretty much go I wave triggered is an enemy base. So we can remove all of that. Move that. Move that. Move that. Move that. Move that. Public. Protected. Override void. Process. We can do that. We can do move all that. Now I think this will break the aircraft. Let's have a see. But that does mean with this now, the two things are very simple because they only have their specificity as the code. You don't end up with a general code. This is still going to be an issue because I think these are because I hide them on screen. So let's see if we even trigger the enemies anymore. Okay. And they work. They're still on too long. Viewerbot's running around too currently. Oh no, that's not good. I have a great sympathy for anyone suffering through that because it's that was a mess that day. Good point, yeah. Let me not wish viewership. Okay, so the challenge there is I've just made the aircraft now. So previously the aircraft didn't actually have the the notification there, so the notifier. So I probably need to go and bind that on the aircraft now. Yeah. I don't have a notifier here, so add child node notifier. And then I go here and assign the notifier. Um, that's going to be interesting, I think. Let's try and run that and see. Oh no. On air entered. Wave triggered. Invalid cast. Wave results. Huh? That's the wave trigger. And that's getting all the wave triggered elements. I don't get that. Why did that trigger now? I don't get it. So we went to level 1 and we had wave 1, which are 3 aircraft. These are all I wave triggered. They need score as well. Why don't they have score? Did I remove score? Enemy base. I enemy. I enemy is I scoreable, which is a score value. Export. Still had radar there. Enemy aircraft. That really makes a difference, but we'll learn. I wave triggered. That's fine. Let's make sure that I didn't lose some scripts. No, nothing lost. Everything attached. Why is score not available? Oh, I've got to rebuild it. That makes a difference, right? So we go back to level 1. Enemy base, aircraft. What did I do wrong here? Score value. Oh, enemy base. That puts it under there. Okay, nice. So export category. Really? I'm just experimenting. Tracking. Okay, so it's category that I want it under. Okay, nice. Oh, score value's there now. There's score value. Okay, so that's 50. No, they're 25. 5. Craft. And 50. Okay, that takes that. Okay, so again, learning a little bit. Let's see what happens now. This should crash. So we have enemies come on screen. Yeah, they fire, they fire, they fire. Okay, next wave. Goal's not attaching, but then they probably got 0 score right this second. Okay. Level 2. Yeah. 5. 5. 5. Okay, so I didn't get any errors logged out there. So is that working? Was it a quirk? Let's see. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Sun in my eyes. Oh, you're going to crash. Unable to cast object of type Godot, object of type Godot node. Wave trigger line. I didn't ask you to cast that. Where are you pulling that from? If you can't cast, then it wouldn't get in there. Um, so why doesn't that throw an error when... So I don't know why that would be trying to cast anything as Godot object because it's testing it here. So the node, but it happens. Hold on. I think I need to bail on this. If I need to know. Um, I need to know what this is. Okay, so I should hit it once and it should have the wave in it. Then when I shoot, I don't know why it should enter that area again, right? So there we go. There's the wave being triggered. So wave here is 3 aircraft. Yeah. That's weird that I get that, but okay. Uh, no error there. So my thought there is that the actual wave, the event that's triggering it. So I did trigger it 3 times, which is a little strange. Let's use GD print and see what happens. GD print, wave triggered. Let's see. Okay. So flying, we're flying, we're flying, we're flying, we're flying. Whoa, why you fire 4 times? And then it triggers again. Let's have a look at what is area 2D here. Play a projectile. No, no, no. This should be what is entering this. So the camera stop. Camera. So the wave trigger is intended to be a camera stop with a collision rectangle. So it fires there, and that's the wave trigger script. Right. And what it's meant to do is tell the things in it that they should be triggered. So what should enter this? The game manager, camera. If area is not camera stop, return. So we probably want to do that, don't we? Because that should because if a bullet enters the area. That's it. The bullet's entering the trigger. And on the right hand side it doesn't cause a problem because the trigger's actually over to the left hand side of the screen because it's made to line up with the stops that I've set out. So that's why it didn't trigger at all on the right hand side, and it only triggered once. So what's actually happening there was my bullets were triggering the actual trigger. So this should actually avoid that now. So let's test that. Wave triggered. So let's run that. Now we shouldn't see it 4 times. We should see it once when it triggers, and that's it. Apologize for ads. No. Now we don't get any trigger. gd.print wave triggered by. Actually, we do know one thing. If it is projectile, return. Right? It's not triggered by that. Also, we need to do aircraft, enemy base, enemy base. I do need to figure out collision because if the unit's dead or I need to do that way. Or active goal is active. It's true. Not is active. Because I don't want to trigger a hit on aircraft. So So that becomes is active, true. And this on ready. Is active equals false. Is active. I don't want to. A hit doesn't count if I'm off screen. Right. So let's go there. No. Okay, I mean that's better, but why is it triggering 4 times? And also, why did that not log? What should trigger that? The camera. Camera stop. Camera. It's not that though, is it? It's the stopper that actually triggers it. On camera stopped. I gotta get my brain around how I'm structuring. So the way this works. So I have a collision, right? Should probably. Why is that there? Is that there? Let's try. So when I add a wave in, it creates the. That's why that does that. Okay. So the wave that wants to be 80. So they collide with that. So it's these. So the wave is the wave triggered entity. And this stop up here is the final stop. That's the ending. Wave triggers. Monitoring and monitored. Got a feeling that's incorrect. I think that's probably what the problem is. Is my I'm back to monitored versus monitoring. If true, the area detects. If true, other monitoring areas can detect this area. Right, okay, that's what I want to do. Nothing cares about this, so let's go back here. Uh, it's not monitoring. No one cares about the wave colliding with it. Other monitoring areas. If I flip that there. So one area entered. The camera stopped. Right. If true, the area detects bodies or areas entering and exiting it. No, I want monitorable. Let's try. Wave trigger. But I didn't see wave. Wave wasn't triggered there, so that's okay. So let's do this now. Let's run that. Nope. No, it's not triggering at all. Uh, one. So this doesn't really matter. What matters is their relative position to it. They should always be behind the trigger though. There you go. Bit better. Now they're not firing. Also, I'm able to get 25 points that I don't know about. So that's going to be interesting. So the camera brings up so the level comes down. The camera has attached to it a leading edge. Can I get one line to make it sound? um, the leading edge hits the trigger, right? So I could probably move this down actually. Let's move wave one down a little bit. Let's do it that way. Let's move wave two down. So all that matters is that this collision area hits the box. So it doesn't matter if this is big or small, just that's plenty big enough to hit. I haven't even thought about sound yet. That's even more nightmarish. So why don't they fire? Aircraft is active. It moves down the screen. That's good. Notify wave triggered. So is this not happening now? No, it has to be happening. So the firing timer. Have I broken the firing timer? Aircraft. Hank is a enemy script for now. Firing timer, yeah, everything's good. Wait time, ending time. 0.12. They're not disappearing though, are they? That's so wave triggered shouldn't happen 4 times. Um, oh, I know why it's firing 4 times because there's 3 aircraft. So the aircraft fly through their own trigger zone and it triggers it again. That's why that's happening. So if the area is, I mean, basically, I want to say if the area is not a, it's not a wave trigger. This is the, what is this? This is on the camera. Um, Wave triggered by area dot name. Let's see that now. I think it's going to tell me that it got triggered by stopper, aircraft 2, aircraft 3, stopper. Okay, so yeah. It's not stopper though. Wave triggered by is not collision. Is not null. Is is not. Is a projectile. What is that leading with? So the camera. Main. That's what it is. Viewport. Stopper. Okay, so it is stopper. So if it's not stopper, stopper is what is stopper? Stopper is a probably a really smart way of doing this. That I'm just doing. I'm just so dumb that I'm doing it this way. Um, I could create a script. What am I doing this? Camera trigger. I'm not going to call it stopper. Area 2D. Um, Export. And yes, I know I'm learning. I know that is part of this, but it's not camera trigger. Right. So we know that camera trigger should hit it. So I have to build it so that I can see that over here. That's why I need to do that. So this is a camera trigger now. And that has its collision shape 2D. Collision shape 2D. This is collider. That's that. Okay, so if it's not that, then let's go and see what happens now. So I should only see wave triggered once now. Yeah, wave triggered by stopper. I should see it again in a second. There you go. Okay, so that's more robust. Now, two things. The enemies aren't disappearing off the screen. They should disappear pretty quickly. And they're not firing. Why are they not firing now? On firing timeout. So firing timer, player tracking enemy, enemy base. So firing timer, on firing timer, timeout. Does that not? Well, here's how we're going to test that. We're going to go back to the main level. And we're going to re-enable all these tanks. This game's about to get chaotic. They should fire at me. Yeah, they're firing. Whoa, whoa. So the tanks have no issue firing at me. Chaos is what we're here for. You're in the right place. Let's disable them again, otherwise I'm going to end up with too much of a challenge. So the aircraft do now trigger. They do fly down the screen. I don't think that's happening. GD.print. Pew, pew. You're not firing your trigger. Okay. That. So pew pew is not firing there. We're moving down the screen, so we are active. Firing timer should start. So gd.print wave triggered, activating aircraft. Right, so we'll see that, and we should see the firing timer start. Yep, so all three get activated, so we know that happens. So firing timer, well, apart from it being now on the base, so again, this should follow different rules. Watch this though. I'm about to break all that, aren't I? Because I think that breaks the IDE. I think I have to go and rewire everything. Doing it that way. Yep, there you go. So let's go back to our aircraft. Our ending timer. Our firing timer. Our explosion. Our cannon. Our notifier. There you go. And our tank. Our ending timer. Seeing a pattern here. Explosion. Cannon. Notifier. Oh. How do I get rid of that? When I do that? I hit Control Shift B instinctively. Okay, so that didn't do anything there. It's it knows they're hit. It's giving me the score for them. Sort tabs. Firing timer on unit hit. Firing timer on firing timer timeout. You did that print. Firing. So let's see if that does anything. No, it's not activating. Why? They're all wired up correctly. Because they're instances of that scene, so that's why they work. So they're all wired up properly. But the firing timer isn't firing. What have I broken? Oh, hold on. That's not right. Let's see. GD.print. Starting. Stopping. I think I'm going to see the wrong things happening there. Oh, you know, nothing, and it's going to make a liar on me. Where's that 25 points coming from? Oh, the tanks are still on the screen. I don't check if they're visible. It's actually a tank that I'm destroying early on. Okay, so no events of nothing's coming out here. So these aren't happening. This isn't happening. The enemy tanks fire. So their firing time is working just fine. The timers aren't running because although it's understanding the collision, right? Because it's understanding it's doing this. It's this is happening. But it's like the ending timer. GD.print. Shut down. Down. Shut down. Shut down. What? Oh, that's weird. But they're not disappearing. Let's remove these for now. So, level 1. The main scene. I don't think this is it because it adds it into this scene and then moves it. So that's working fine. Level 1. They should disappear really quickly. They're not firing, so the firing timer isn't going. So do I have a ending? So we stop the firing timer and start the ending timer. That can't be doing anything, right? I did put prints in there before. Um, for the aircraft, that shouldn't matter. Less. Did I reset something else? Did I reset? No, because the cannon has the bullets in attached to it. Yeah, the cannon has the here's what the the effect of firing this is going to work using one shot. Yeah, that's fine. The firing timer is 0.95 seconds. Uh, Auto start is false. That's correct. That's all fine. The aircraft. Should fire. If nothing else, you should disappear. I made them all using my voice and did prosonate. Come morning while I hide it. It's pew pew. Oh, ad break. Oh. So, a couple of streams over the weekend trying to work on using Akka for changes. That was challenging. Um, I've got to invest a bit more time in that. I think. I still think it's pretty much the right idea. Just a terrible understanding of it. Um, the Akka stuff. Um, like Barak is me. How many days in? Into game dev stuff. Um, I've probably been doing this for. Oh, hold on. Let me tell you how many. Playlists. Uh, really? YouTube. New full playlist. I've got 12 videos up there. So I've been doing this for about 6 weeks. Um, so I'm not new to dev, I'm just new to game dev. This is the most I've ever tried to achieve with a game. And stuck at it. Yeah. Somewhere between the two. Yeah. So over the weekend, tried to do a little bit of app development. Tried to use Akka. Got limited success. Hit some hurdles. Hit some questions. So I'm going to be revisiting that a lot over the course of the week. Um, but for anyone new to the stream, basically Mondays and Tuesdays I kind of do game dev, really as a palate cleanser to make sure that I'm just not burning myself out with everything else. This is meant to be fun. If it stops being fun, I'll stop doing it. Um, not because I'm a quitter, but because I don't like making myself frustrated for no reason. I'd rather get frustrated on things I can actually focus on. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to learn my way around game dev. I've been a developer for a long time, but game dev is something that's relatively new to me in terms of actually sitting down and trying to build a game um, on my own. So Godot and C Sharp seems like a good pairing. I get to use all the current features of C Sharp without being limited by something like Unity's. What is your strategy for learning new technologies? Um, I try and use them because I'm a practical learner. I do not like to sit and read great deals of text. I do not try and watch videos because videos often oversimplify and I have to follow someone else's contrived example or under contrived examples sometimes. So I don't often follow um, tutorial videos. If I do, I kind of use them as reference. But I use Pomodoro. I have done in the past. I don't do it currently. I find my way of thinking just a bit too scattered to use Pomodoro. Um, it's not a bad technique if you can hold to it, but you've got to make sure you stay focused. And um, I struggle with that now. So that's not triggering anything. That's not causing any problems for this particular element. I probably should change that. So it's like the timers are not doing what they should. So, so yeah, I do two different things on stream right now. The game dev is Mondays and Tuesdays, and I do this because it's fun. It's something that's completely different to what I normally do. I get to learn different things entirely. Um, and I love games. Right, games are something that I've always loved since being very little. Um, and then I build on Wednesday through Friday, and as I did this weekend streams, um, I'm building an application for project management, um, a distributed application that's a lot larger than anything else I've tackled before on stream. So shutdown isn't getting called prematurely. So why won't these timers work? Aircraft is enemy base. Like none of this would work if it wasn't enema, enemy. Um, yeah, the stream overall is open to conversation. I'm happy to talk about software. I'm happy to discuss um, all things software related. One unit hit. They should disappear off the screen very quickly. Architecture patterns overrated. No. Anything specific? Or trying to use patterns? Do you mean? Uh, I see Onion CA talked about a lot, but the implications always seem different. Gotcha, yeah. Um, did you learn web development as it's in a lot of hype right now? Okay. Um, Patterns first. Um, how do I put this? So architectural patterns are absolutely useful, right? I think it's worth sticking to. So I'm not going to get this solved in the 15 minutes. So let me and this kind of goes to both questions as well. So Liquid Sky application is my other application I work on stream. It's a large distributed application. So web development, yes, I do a lot of web development. It's what my career has been built around. I've been a developer for 25 years. I've spent a lot of that time building websites and building application websites. Um, so I've been a .NET developer for a long time. I've done a lot of different things with .NET, but I primarily focused on building um, websites for the most part. So Mojo to that, so clean architecture. So this is semi-clean architecture, and yeah, implementations are different. The problem is that to follow a pattern 100% requires you to have a deep understanding of what the person who created the pattern dictates is the way, right? Um, Uncle Bob's book is obviously the frame of reference because it's kind of one of those things that he refined things like onion and whatnot. Um, but everything has to you have to be um, pragmatic. I really feel there's a lot to be said about pragmatism. I actually tried to create a short this weekend. I'm going to pull it off screen because it's the notes are kind of random. But basically, I said um, as I've progressed through my software development journey, I've come to learn that the more I chase what other people think is good software, the less software I'm going to develop because I'm always trying to fit what I do to another person's efforts. But in reality, I don't have that person to go to when my use case doesn't quite neatly fit. So the problem is that oftentimes we try and follow a pattern and then we hit a problem that we don't have the answers for from the book or because it's idealistic or it's the best case scenario. So we're asked to build something and it's on us to understand, okay, um, how do I achieve this now, right? And that's where things start to change. But I think that's okay, right? Being pragmatic about that and adapting that and making sure that, you know, if you can follow a pattern and it makes sense to do it, yeah, do it. Um, I did this primarily so that anyone looking at the code on the stream will actually feel a little bit more comfortable if they understand clean architecture. Will this adhere 100% to someone's expectation of what clean architecture is? No, and that's fine. I understand it. I understand the pieces, and I've built the software in it. Learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. But I don't think it's necessarily a pro thing to be able to follow an architecture. I think it's just experience there. A pattern is just that, a pattern, and not everything fits a pattern. It's just a guide, a style. Yeah, trap. Morning, by the way. I agree. But I think it takes a while for a developer to learn that, right? I think that's the point I hit where it's like, hold on, if I keep trying to follow what other people expect me to write, then I'm going to get and I get stuck, then I'm going to kind of come up with my own way of doing things. And now I've broken the pattern or whatever, or I've hacked something in. I got to be pragmatic about it. So the thing I said was follow patterns where they make sense to you. Don't worry about adhering to other people's definitions of good software. Make sure the software you write is consistent. Make sure it's easy to understand and well tested. And by virtue of those things, it'll be easy to maintain. And as you grow and you see more advanced patterns that you might want to put in, then you can go ahead and do that. I can't think of a single old school dev that thinks in patterns like modern devs do. I don't think in patterns. I don't try and build two patterns necessarily. I think this is the first time I've actually attempted to do something that's following someone else's expectation because I don't study upon ports and adapters or onion or whatever. Because again, I think if you start building software the way that someone thinks you should, you're gonna misunderstand something. You can't be. So experience, time, and just writing software is what will get you there. Hi, UV, how you doing? So I think being able to write software that you can change and you're comfortable changing is the most important thing to me now. Um, am I happy that everything's working perfectly in this system? No. But am I confident that if something is broken, I can change it? Yeah. There we go. I'm happy that the software is good. I don't have to adhere to someone else's expectations of what. As long as it achieves its job, I can fix things, I can test things, I can maintain things, then the software is doing its job properly. Um, and everything else is just an opinion. So, so hopefully that answers the web and the architecture thing a little bit. And I'm always happy to talk about this stuff. I want to grow. I want to learn more. Why aren't you disappearing? Those timers are not starting. It's like I made them. I put them in the base class and they don't work now. But there's no reason they shouldn't do because the timers should do what they do. Unless this is the problem. That's the difference. This doesn't fire ready. This does. There you go. There you go. Both of your answers made sense. Thank you for that. I must get into work mode right now. I'll catch you later. Mojo, thank you very much for coming hanging out. Appreciate it. Um, have a great day at work. Hey, I'm about to start my development journey. Which field and which stack I should consider? I mean, you're about to start your development journey. So you've never written a line of code, or you're in school learning. And that palette refresher of talking about architecture stuff was enough to make me realize the error of my ways there. Awesome. Um, let's commit that before I lose it. I mean, there's so much available as a developer these days. Languages, I mean, in fields, what interests you? Um, Also, depending on the country you're in, there could be all sorts of different, options available to you. So for me, I haven't particularly chased a specific field of software development. I've just chased, I do web development. I've done mobile development. I've worked in different industries. So I've worked in travel and reservation travel stuff. I've worked in pest control, field service stuff. I've worked in um, research and airport car parking. I know all CS concepts in DSA, but not in development or not in the HTML CSS. I mean, if it's something you want to chase, then I'd say you just want to go off and learn. If you've done, and I'm not sure what you mean by I know all CS concept. Have you completed school? Are you in school or about to start school? Um, um, Aircraft. There's yeah, the aircraft score, aircraft destroy score. Um, Broke out, base class, enemies. Um, Copy and paste books. Um, Creative camera trigger. That's enough. I don't need to be writing War and Peace and I git commit against something like this. So let's go back to our main level. Let's drag some operating system, compute networks, embedded programming, etc. I have a brief idea of. I mean, again, um, is there a particular area that interests you? Are you just looking to try and find a career where you can make money? Um, there's so much open, right? In terms of, do you want to go into AI stuff? Do you want to go into uh, web design development? There's, I mean, as a .NET developer, I feel productive, right? I feel like there's lots of options available for me across different platforms, across different tools, right? I can do mobile, I can do desktop, I can do web, I can do services, I can do all sorts of stuff in .NET. But I've been doing it a long time, and it's kind of where I spent my career for the most part. So that to me is a stack that I can support. Um, if you've not learned anything yet, then the options are there for you. But you can, yeah, the world is your oyster, literally. Um, Not literally. That would be an actual oyster, figuratively. If you have questions like this, you have to provide more information. We can't make recommendations if we provide no details about your goals. It's fair. I mean, I'm happy to talk about it. But it's again, it's something that you have to, you know, having an understanding of the concepts of certain things doesn't necessarily mean you can write code. Do you think Moan is overrated? No, I think I mean, the reason there's an acronym there is there's a stack that people have built tools on. They built actual working applications. if that's something that interests you, go and do some. The older I've got, the less time I've spent trying to branch out and try and pick up new frameworks here and there because I feel that my time is best spent focused on bigger projects, things that I can achieve with tools I do know. When I was younger, and I'm not trying to sound pretentious with this, but when I was younger, then I would happily hop around different things and experiment. Go off, spend a month, spend 2 months going off trying to figure out what does that do for you. Can you build an application in Learn? Do you understand the pieces? Where do you struggle? Right? You got to do something to understand what you don't know. Um, and again, are you chasing it um, because you have you want to make money? Are you chasing it because you have a field you want to look at? Right? Um, most things are overrated. No one thing can solve every problem. Absolutely, that is a good point. Okay, so we've committed that. That's pushed. The code for this is available. Um, if anyone has any interest whatsoever. Um, should know that you're over now. So it is there if you want to go and download it and play with it yourself. It ain't pretty, but it works. I mean, so you've clearly done some research because you're asking about Mern, so you understand that stacks exist to create applications. If you're trying to build your first website, then why not start with Mern, right? Overrated doesn't matter to you when you're starting out, right? If you haven't got even the concepts of writing code down and building sites and how the code interacts with the markup and all those sorts of things, then going off and doing something is better than trying to analyze until until you found what you think is the perfect stack based upon other people's opinions. You've got to learn enough to get your own opinions. Um, because if you let people guide what you do, especially while you're early on in that process, if let people guide what you do, you will be constantly hopping to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and you'll actually not get anything effectively done because you're just hopping to the next technology that someone says is the best thing since sliced bread, right? If I listen to people, then I might have jumped to C++, or I might have jumped to Go or Rust, etc., and gone off trying to build software with them by now, because they're the next best thing. They're faster, they're better, they are superior in certain ways. So, like Trap says, no one thing solves every problem. So, I would highly recommend just going off and playing and having fun with it, especially as you're starting out. Don't stress yourself about achieving things, um, because it will not necessarily go as well as you want. But anyway, it is um it is turn 9 here, so I do have to finish up. I'm going to end the stream. There's only a few people hanging out right now, and I'm not going to go stressing about having to raid someone. Software computers are tools. Tools solve bespoke problems. Sometimes you need a hammer, sometimes a screwdriver, sometimes a forklift. Yeah. Sometimes you combine all those things together and make some sort of mess. Um, yeah. I mean, UV, there is a Discord. If you're interested and want to ask further questions, you're more than welcome to join the Discord and ask. I do stream 5 days a week around this time. This is the end of the stream, unfortunately. But you're more than welcome if you're still around to drop in the Discord and ask some more questions. I'm happy to answer. Just betting, thank you very much for the follow. If you're looking for someone to go to later, not right this second because one line's not streaming right now, but one line will be streaming later on. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, I do have to finish. I'm going to end out because there's only a few of us. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a little bit more game dev. Although I'm not sure what I'm going to do next with this, but we'll see. I'm also going to continue my challenges with Akka off stream, hopefully. So, and then yeah. So thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you very much for the follow. I will see you again tomorrow. Take care, all. Bye.